Hi, and welcome to Young Happy Confident. Today's guest is Maria, and I am really delighted to have you as a guest because I've heard a lot about you. Our common dear friend Maria told me to contact you because you have a lot of life experience and you are born in Russia, you've lived in Switzerland and in Stockholm and traveled around the whole world basically, right?
Yes, that's thank you so much, Kat. I'm very delighted and happy to be here. And thank you, Maria, for this wonderful introduction.
Yeah.
It
It's
feels
it's
great.
really it's really interesting because we were actually going to talk about a very nice topic, which is wellness, and we were going to give you young guys and girls a lot of wellness tips, how to feel good about yourself inside if you do a couple of things for yourself on the
Yeah.
outside. But we realized today that the most urgent topic for all of us at the moment probably is how to take care of yourself during the corona time. So, we're actually going to talk about self care during this tough period, which is really, I guess, a struggle for most of us. So, how is life in Stockholm at the moment?
I mean, I guess we're very spoiled here because we haven't had a real lockdown or quarantine. There has never been a situation where everything would be shut down
Mm,
throughout this whole thing. But of course, when it started last year, a lot of people self-isolated just for the safety measures. But nowadays, everything is open. We have certain regulations that restaurants close at 8:30 in the evening, and that actually they're not allowed to serve alcohol, and so a lot of them close at 8:30 in the evening, and that you cannot make a sit at a table more than four people. But other than that, and then of course if you're sick you have to self-isolate and not see other people, but other than that it's sort of feeling normal. I think for me it has been because
yes.
like a lot of people, I'm quite a social human being. For me it's very important to have relationships with
Mm,
others, so in a way it has been a blessing to be able to keep that relationship, to be able
yes.
to see my family,
Mm,
because I think that's the biggest problem when I talk to my friends that are in other countries. It's
yeah.
this feeling of disconnection, this feeling of not be able to reach out, and the feeling of loneliness. And it's one thing if somebody lives with the family and their partners and kids and boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, but I guess a lot of people lived alone, a lot of students, for
Yeah.
instance, and they would be some of my friends in England, and then they're self-isolated at
Mhm.
home.
Yeah.
And that those are the ones that I would say had the most difficult time. And also the ones that were maybe, but we've noticed that people that kind of tend to run away from whatever is happening on the inside, that are always trying to find a distraction, trying to be
Yes.
out. And also the people that I guess had it the hardest during this whole quarantine, because you're faced with yourself, you're faced with everything that you maybe have been trying to avoid. And
Yeah.
if you find a way to not be bored with yourself and entertain yourself and find yourself as an interesting person to hang out with, then the whole thing gets better and
I
lighter to get
agree
through. But
completely. I think that's the challenge. We are social human beings, like you said, and
yeah,
we really need that contact. It's like really hard to stay away from other people, especially close ones, for months
yeah,
and months and months, and not really even seeing an end to it.
yeah.
So, what have you been doing? I mean, you've had an easier situation in Sweden, obviously, but
Yeah.
you told me a couple of things that have been good for you.
I
Like,
mean, of course, it's also because I've been living away from my family since I was 12. So I guess in my case, it has been, I'm used to being away from them, but we speak several times per week. So, of course, I think if you're on a total lockdown, I mean, what has helped me, I notice that I speak much more often to my relatives that are in Russia now than I did before.
yeah,
And I think I had a moment, and I think I would highly recommend it to everyone, that you sit down and write down honestly with yourself. Nobody else needs to see it, your priorities.
mm,
Reprioritize like what is important for you, what makes you happy, what fills you up with energy, what gives you joy, what do you want your every day to feel like, and what do you want to give your energy to,
yes,
because we don't have an unlimited amount of it. You wake up in the morning with 100% charged if you had a good night's sleep,
mm-hmm.
if and then it's getting lower and lower by the end of the day. So what are you giving your time to,
Yeah,
your thoughts to, your
yeah,
actions to? So
yeah,
for me that was something
completely.
that has really helped, that
And
to
it's
sit
also a
down.
little bit the time to think about the life we had before,
Mhm.
and was that exactly the life, the kind of life we want to live? Or could this be a moment to really change stuff
Yeah,
for,
and
yeah, long term?
I
It's
think,
very
like you
obvious.
say,
Yeah.
it's like you say, it is like now a transformational point for a
Hmm.
lot of people. I know it has been for myself and for a lot of my friends and
Hmm.
family as well, that it's something that you like you said, to make a decision how you want to be living. Do you want to go back? Because honestly, I don't when no one knows how this is going to develop and if things will ever go back to the way
Yeah.
they were.
No.
We're entering into a new kind of reality in a way, and how are you going to be living that? So for me, that has helped a lot. And
Yes.
even though that I haven't been isolated, but that has helped a lot. And I realized that it is, the quality of my relationships, my friendships that I've built in the years, my relationship with the parents, even listening to the stories of my grandparents, and I
Yeah.
start feeling a lot more grateful. So I think the
Yeah.
two practices that have really helped me, and I think
Yeah.
would be, but not just in Corona times, at any time, but especially now, because the
Hmm.
more you feel the darkness, the more you need to make this light
Yeah.
by
Yeah. I also
yourself.
feel that it's been quality instead of quantity now. We've had
Yeah,
to choose because, well, having kids at home for homeschooling,
yeah,
trying to do all our work, everything, it's like there's so much more pressure put on top of us that we really have to choose who we stay in contact with, even
yeah,
if it's only on Zoom or per phone. And then the you gather the closest, the best friends, and it's a lot of quality. You dig
yeah.
deeper into some relationships in
Yes,
some way.
like I said, it's quality over quantity, and I think that's a rule that we can take on in life for
Yeah.
anything. Because
Hmm.
even a lot of people are into healthy eating, and we can talk about that other time. But I think it's like it's much better if you want to have a cheat meal. It's much better you go and you eat something delicious, something that will activate your senses instead of
Yeah.
just binging on a bunch of Pringles and chocolate. It,
Yes.
Equality, yeah, less is
Yes.
more in a
Yes.
way, and appreciating that. So I think, yeah,
Completely.
it's also has been the practice of gratefulness, because I realized, oh my God, my grandparents are alive and they're in good, sane health.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to them every week on video and hear, their stories and because it's also, I realize we are so much in our phones in this digital world, and they are a very new generation. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even if you don't do something and don't practice it, it's just so refreshing to be around somebody that does,
Yes.
and they practice, because I see how do they socialize with each other there.
Yes.
They also have had corona and they've been hospitalized at the same time, and I mean they've been together since they're like 16 years old and they're in their
Wow.
80s now, and they sit and play Scrabble and have long conversations and talk about things and read
Fantastic.
poems to each other. And to me,
Yeah.
it's such a contrast of what a relationship is
Yeah.
right now. And
True.
like you, yeah,
Gratefulness
so
really is such a big topic, has been for most of us, I guess, that you realize in these times nothing is like really, you can't take anything for granted,
no,
especially the people around you and work situations and stuff. It's like really the moment to stop and think about what we do have. And
yeah,
yes, the
it's
little
like it,
things. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like it's not about what you have or how much you have. It's about how you see what you have and
Mhm.
how you feel what you have. Because yeah, you can see and you think you acknowledge it, but if you don't feel grateful about it, then what's if you don't feel like, oh my God, this is amazing, then what's the point of having it?
Yes.
It's, you
Mhm.
can just always strive to achieve a higher bank number or higher, I don't know, score in the gym or whatever. And I feel like
Yeah.
now we're in very much in this chase for, yeah,
Yeah.
success, this and that. But what's the point of the success, whatever you define as that success, if you're
Mhm.
not happy about it, if you don't appreciate it, if you
Yeah.
don't enjoy in within your day? There has to be a time that you really enjoy the moment,
Yes.
the
Yes.
whatever it is you're doing.
I
So I
think
think,
it's so fascinating that you say that, because these two things have been thoughts that I've had all through Corona as well.
yeah,
One thing is the gratefulness, that if you don't really realize how grateful you should be for the life you already have, starting from your health and where you live and
yeah,
your friends and your family and all that, what's and materialistic things as well. What's the point
Yeah.
in having them? And
Yeah.
the second thing, this quality thing. And the quality is not just in the relationships, it's about everything. You might as well buy one piece of clothing less, but a good one, or go on
Yeah.
one holiday less, but on a really nice one.
Good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love. I don't know if you heard about her. I did also her workshop and the whole thing, the Marie Kondo, the
Yeah.
Japanese, yes,
Ah,
magic of setting up.
fantastic.
I love that approach because it's about, less things, but that bring you joy. That
Mm-hmm.
really spark this feeling of joy. So I
Mm-hmm.
practice and read the whole house, but that was before Corona. But I think it's also like what you said that we are social beings. And I don't know, there's this TED talk. It's a video, it has been done a Harvard study
Yeah.
where what they've done, they followed for a lifetime groups of people from different social standards, from different neighborhoods. Some
Mm-hmm.
were from the areas where they would not have money to pay for electricity, and others were the kids that went to Ivy League schools and universities. And
Okay.
it was a Harvard study, and they have followed them over the course of 70 years. The point of which the whole study is to define what is happiness, what
Mm-hmm.
makes you happy, because nowadays, unfortunately, I guess when we ask a lot of people, especially young people, what do you want to be? I want to be rich and famous. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how, I just want to be that.
Uh-huh.
TikTok, here we all come. And it's like a pandemic thing. And I feel like now with the pandemic, it has been even more. It's like a snowball effect of it without even analyzing what, why, how. It's just,
Yeah.
and what they found out with the study that actually looking at all the different salaries that people earned, living conditions, the only one criteria that was defining for human happiness is the quality of the relationships you have. A toxic relationship, an unhealthy one, and it could bring you down, it can destroy you, it can suck
Yeah.
you down places you
Yeah.
don't want to go.
Yes.
And a healthy
Yeah.
one can lift you up and
Mm-hmm.
make your whole experience a lot
Yeah.
more pleasant. We're different from animals. Animals, when they get born, a
Yeah.
lot of them are ready to go and run. A human baby, when they're born without touch, we will die. We
Yes.
can't survive
Completely.
without that.
Yeah.
And I think there's now coming out with the science that's like hugging somebody, holding someone. And a lot of the studies have been done also between, mothers and fathers and the kids, like the
Yes.
skin to skin contact.
Mm-hmm.
Our body produces all these hormones and everything to lift our spirits, to make us feel healthy in
Yes.
all possible
Yes.
ways. And I
Yes.
think that has been the biggest challenge now for people. So I'm grateful to be in Sweden
Yeah.
to answer your
Yeah. And
question.
I think you're so right because it's a difficult one, especially I guess when you're a teenager or around, I don't know, your early 20s, to
Yeah,
really distance yourself from the relationships that are not doing you well because it's
yeah,
hard. I mean, how do you do? And I don't think it's a thing that you learn from your parents necessarily to
no,
make sure that you surround yourself with people that are giving you energy instead of taking it and then are
hmm,
also really wishing you well and helping you. And
yeah.
it's something you learn along the way, I guess. What What do you think when you realize that someone is not doing you too well? How do you do it? Like, how do you?
I mean, I think it's like I guess there's two ways that you can separate for somebody, and I say that for me it has often been the second way. The first way is that you come to a conflict point, and
Mm-hmm,
there is tension, and then it's it breaks. You
mm-hmm.
no longer allow somebody to cross your boundaries,
Yeah,
or you realize something is toxic, and then there is a clash. Sooner or later, it's going to happen.
yeah,
It's otherwise
yeah,
it can't last for a long time. It's a temporary. It's a matter of time. The second way, which has happened to me a lot, is when you just kind of grow your different ways.
yeah.
And I think that's the focus for it. It's like that I think what's difficult also when I think back also to teenage years and especially
Mhm.
now, you need to have the score within you on which you can rely. And
Yeah.
that's why your priorities, your values, and your priorities come from your values. What's important to you? That might change through a
Mhm,
course of life. Like in
mhm,
5 years, it will be completely different. But
mhm.
when you have that sense of your values, what's precious to your priorities, and you turn that into goals, and say for somebody, I don't know, they love dancing, or they love painting, and they go expressing their creativity.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something else. you turn that dream into a goal. You realize this is important to me, this is feeding me, my energy outside of other people. And you start going to different, classes or sections or learning about it.
Yeah.
You will start meeting people with the same values, the
Yeah.
same interests. It's like two
True.
magnets. You
Yes.
will attract with them and they
And it
will become
makes
your
it
friends.
easier if you find them to maybe let go of some other ones, older
Yeah,
ones that you know that shouldn't be in your life anymore. And it doesn't have to be anything you do or say out loud. It's just you
no.
just let go of the whole thing. You just
Yeah,
yeah,
it doesn't need to be a painful experience. It's
no.
just a natural growth experience. And I've noticed that I had some people with whom we were very close when we were teenagers, best
Yeah.
friends, every day together, eating from the same plates. And of course, if we would see each other, I'm sure we would have a lot of things to talk about, but it would be things from the past.
Yeah.
It would not be their interest right now, my interest. And I think it's just you grow yourself. You really need to grow yourself. You really need to have this core. And I think now it's like when you look on social media, it's so easy to start wanting to live somebody else's life.
No,
That's you
yeah.
will never be. It will never make somebody happy living someone else's
No.
dreams. It has to be yours, and I guess that's the tricky part to figure that out,
Yeah.
and everything else will fall in place. I remember when I moved to Sweden, I was thinking, God, why am I moving to Sweden? I was choosing between like London, Paris, and I had friends in all of those cities. And in Sweden, I knew nobody, not a single person. And I was 23. And I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going there for? And it's like maybe I wanted to kind of cheat myself and escape. I was like, well, I'll just move to London. I have so many friends there. It's going to be fine. I'm going to do a master's degree or find a work there or, Stockholm. And then I sat down one day and I was like, okay, Maria, you need to be very honest with yourself right now. I was like, the reason why you want to go somewhere else is because this is a comfort zone. These are the people you know, education that you would be in a safe
Mhm.
circle. Sweden
Yeah.
for you, it's uncomfortable at all because you
Mhm.
know nobody there, you know nothing about that country.
Mhm.
But it was me following. I was like, I have to do this to be valuable to myself, to be honest to myself, because that was a step towards my dream. I
Yeah.
wanted to work with wellness. I wanted to work with that world and I wanted to
Yeah.
see if I'm a fit for that and if that's a fit for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing it for the right reason. The right reason is I'm following my calling. And
Yeah.
if I do that,
Yeah.
everything else is going to turn into
Yeah.
fall into place. And every time I had a fear, I remember I was in Moscow visiting my family and I was lying at night. What am I doing? It's not too late. I should change. And every time I had this fear, I said, no, it's going to be fine. I had to remind myself why. So I
Mhm.
think if
Yeah.
you always keep that in focus why you're doing it, and then it happened like magic. I came here. Turns out I knew a guy from my university who was here. Through him, I met a lot of people, my friends, or even people that we were close ones with, but
Yeah.
not talking on daily basis. They're like, "Oh my God, you moved to Stockholm. Let me come for a weekend." I had
Yeah.
seriously
Yeah.
all the weekends booked, and 2 weeks after I moved here, I was still not sure how long I was going to stay. I met my husband. It was like the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah,
thing
it all
really,
happens for a reason. Yeah.
yeah,
You need to be a bit brave, of course, sometimes when you make these
yeah.
decisions in life. But if you, yeah, and
You have to stick to them.
leaving your
Yeah.
comfort zone sometimes as well.
Yeah, leaving your comfort zone, but knowing why, what is worth
Exactly.
for leaving it.
Exactly. I've heard it somewhere that it's a good thing to, even in normal times, at least twice a year, every 6 months, leave your comfort zone and do something you would never usually do. And I
Hmm.
think this Corona time is an even better chance to do it because everything is different. And I've been doing
Yeah,
it over and over again now where I just thought, oh, this is not anything I would
no,
do normally. But it makes you not only grow, but it opens up new possibilities. New doors are opening because you do something you wouldn't normally do. So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's exactly like you said. I think we all, as the whole world, we've been forced into this transformation
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because it's new, it's a new setting, it's nothing that we could have imagined. I mean, to be fair, if we look at the course of history, that's why I think history is a great subject, because when you look at how people lived, you realize, nah, it's not that bad. Okay, we're in a lockdown, but at least
Yes,
we're not going through the
exactly.
Second World
Yeah,
War, Holocaust, or anything else that could have been
yes.
happening. Because when we studied you see, yeah, every generation had something. So I guess this is a
This is
transformation for
our,
us.
yeah. And I have to say, what you just said about this having the right energy in your life, the right people, letting go of other ones. And I think this Corona time is the perfect time to really get rid of energies, people you don't need,
Yeah.
and focusing on the right ones. And I heard this beautiful saying that every no to somebody else is a yes to yourself.
Yeah,
And I think even if it
definitely.
means that you are spending a bit more time with yourself, it's a good thing.
No, absolutely. It's like I also heard one that you said that if somebody, when you say yes to someone, make sure you're not saying no to yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, yeah, that
so
you have
true.
to really, and like you said, I like what you said now, that to let go of, toxic relationships, clothing, things that no longer serve you, because we
Yeah,
have a certain capacity of
yes.
space in our
Mhm.
life that we can
Yes.
hold and work with. So
Mhm.
in order for something new to come in, you
Yeah,
need to get rid of
space. You
something.
need to make space. Yes. If
Yeah.
it's in your wardrobe and you need to simplify your wardrobes, it's the same thing in all areas of life. Just simplify your life. And I think this time is a good one for
No,
that.
for sure. And I think it's also because when you do come to this realizing, okay, what is important, what is bringing quality, then you take that energy away from maybe a toxic relationship and you build a relationship that's important instead. You
Hmm.
make something that's already good even stronger, and that's gonna pay off in the future 100% when you
Yeah.
invest it.
Yeah. Wow. So many thoughts around this. And yeah, there are some good things, even though if it's a challenge, I think for most of us, it really, especially after so many months and it's the middle of the
Yeah,
winter and it keeps going and going. So we need to really put on our oxygen mask ourselves first
yeah,
to be able to be strong for others.
yes, definitely.
But when we think about young people, especially youngsters around 20 or teenagers, is there something you would want to say to them, especially to them? I know there is.
Oh, I mean, today's actually my sister's birthday. She turned 15, and it's also my husband's sister is 15. And I mean, I'm still lucky enough to be surrounded by them. I mean, it's a very different time that we live in, and teenage years can be very unstable. I mean, it's, even in psychology, they call it one of the most difficult transitions because you are in this phase between being an adult and being a kid. And
Yeah,
you can't, so a lot of things come up,
yeah,
and this is the stage where you're trying to define yourself, who you are, what's important to you, everything that we've been talking
yeah.
about.
Hmm.
And I think now with social media, it can be, I'm not just saying it to be like, no, kids, turn off your phones, because I see the effect of it, of how it can poison my thoughts and my brain if I spend too much time on it. And I sometimes catch myself thinking, I'm so thankful that I didn't have to go through that when I was a
Yeah,
teenager, because
yeah,
already it's like boy drama, and you're
yeah,
trying to figure your way, find yourself, and every small fight with your friends is a catastrophe. And oh my God, I don't miss those times. I would never ever trade back to go back there. But nowadays, it's like, honestly, switch off your phone sometimes and
yeah,
stop looking at somebody else's life thinking that, oh yeah, I need to get that, I'll be happy. No,
yeah,
you won't. You will achieve that. I've met a lot of different people from all the different social statuses, and you think it will make you happy, it won't. What will make you happy is being true to yourself and finding the truth to yourself,
mhm,
and knowing that every day, even if you take 1,000 steps, starts with a one small
mhm,
journey, one like 1,000-step journey starts with the first step.
yeah,
If you take those steps and you're true to yourself,
yeah,
you'll be fine. You'll manage through it. You just need to find what's true to yourself and surround yourself, build real relationships. Social
yes,
media, online things, it can be amazing, but you have to be in control of it. If you
yeah,
find yourself dependent, if you find yourself spending 10 hours a day on it, you're no longer in control. And if you think you're lying to
yeah,
yourself,
yeah, yeah,
because
completely.
yeah,
I think,
it's gotten track of you. It's our iPhone, our computer, all of this. It's a gadget that's meant to serve you. The moment you get hooked on it, you are serving that, and you don't even know what's your thoughts or what's something that has been put in your head that you think is
mhm,
your thought.
yeah,
So switch off, go outside if you can, even if it's lockdown, read books. I know it sounds, but believe me, even Game of Thrones, the book is way more exciting than the TV show. If
social
you
media
like,
or yeah, somebody
yeah,
else's life. Yeah,
and you will see how start, we can talk about some other but time, but also like start to look into meditation or just listening to something that will, you were given by nature, God, universe, whatever you believe in, you were given a brain, a body, and a soul. You have
Mhm.
to develop each one of them. It's fine to go on TikTok to switch off your brain, but it needs to, you have to do something that you're switching it off from. If
Yes,
you have just been the whole day on TikTok, what is it doing to your brain? And then a lot of us talk about, yeah, we want to be successful, build our companies. Do you know that the more you watch Instagram and TikTok, your attention span is becoming shorter and shorter and shorter?
yeah,
So
yeah,
how are you going to build that company or the dream that you're talking about
yes.
with a brain that can only focus 30 seconds or two
That is
minutes
used to just being very, yes, short.
Yeah. But that's another very big topic. But if I could say, especially now in this corona time, it's so easy to get into your phone and this. And if
Mm.
you want to spend time, okay, again, quality over quantity. Have you seen some great movies? That's what we've been doing with my husband's sister. I mean, it might not be like such huge movies, but we're watching Green Mile, Showhand Redemption, things that maybe
Wow.
for me is something that's normal, but for them it's like, oh, it's an old classical movie. But we're watching them, and she loved it. The 2 weeks ago we watched Pride and Prejudice, and she came to me 2 weeks later saying, I've been thinking about it. It's so different. And who is this Jane Austen? Who is this writer? Can we talk more about it? So find something. Okay, you don't want to switch off and read a book straight away, but find something that's going to show you something else.
Yes,
And
that opens up your horizons.
yeah,
Yes,
opens up your horizons, connect to nature, connect to people around you. I don't know, play charades, Monopoly if you're lucky enough to be at home with somebody. Do something which determines,
yes,
non digital time. Because if you tell me, oh, yeah, I can do it, no, if you can't put your phone down and forget about it for 3, 4
yeah.
hours,
Find a
you're hooked.
passion. Find a passion and
Yeah,
dig a little deeper into it, even if
yeah,
it's online or on.
yeah,
Yes, definitely. It's a perfect time to dig deep into yourself and what you really want to reach
yeah,
in life. Yeah.
for
Great.
sure.
Oh, Maria, thank you so much. And
Thank you, get it.
I'm looking forward to doing a wellness one with you when
Yes,
we have managed
absolutely.
the worst phase, the worst corona phase, and we can focus on lighter things again. Then we'll do one about that.
Thank you so much, Carrie, and thank you for connecting that we go through this. And I really hope it is going to be, some things that we said will be helpful to someone,
Yes.
and that they
Yes.
will connect to something in there.
Need to try to see the good part in it and make the most
Absolutely.
out of it so that we at least learned something for ourselves and took something really good out of this crisis. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Take care. See you soon.
Thank you. You too. See you soon.
See you. Bye bye. And you guys out there listening, if you have some inspiration to share, please let me know. Maybe you should be on the podcast and share some thoughts with us. Okay. And sign up and see you soon.